parents' home in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. That's not far from where we are here in Monroe County, but more recently, Kohberger was a PhD candidate at Washington State University. His apartment there in Washington State is not a far drive from the University of Idaho or the off-campus home where 4 students were found brutally stabbed to death back in November. For weeks, we had little information about that case. No leads, no suspects, and really no information except that investigators were searching for a white Hyundai Elantra. We can now confirm that a white Elantra was seized during the investigation at Kohberger's parents' house. Speaking of Kohberger's parents, we're also learning that Kohberger's father recently flew from Pennsylvania over to Washington to drive with his son cross country back here to the
He's
East
supposedly
Coast.
in court
During
right
that
now.
more than 2,000-mile road trip,
And I don't think we
Kohberger's
have cameras
father
in the
said he didn't
courtroom.
notice anything suspicious or
Hit
off
that like
about
button
his son.
anyway.
Kohberger's family, though, has
Law
since
and
released a
crime
statement
tricked
saying they
us.
send their remorse to the family members of the victims and that they're hoping
They
this
said
can
they were
play
going
out
to
in
carry
the
it
legal
live.
system.
It turns out
As
they
for
just have a
Kohberger's
reporter
public defender,
inside the
his
courtroom.
client hopes to soon be exonerated
No
and
cameras
that he is
allowed.
not fighting extradition. He also reminds the public that Kohberger is innocent until proven guilty and that this should not be tried in the court of public opinion. So what can we expect from this extradition hearing this afternoon? Kohberger will appear in front of a judge at about 3:30, and the hearing isn't expected to be very long.
3:30?
Fighting
They
the
told me 3
extradition, meaning he
o'clock.
could be back in
Liars.
Idaho as early as this evening. After that, Kohberger will appear in front of a Latah County judge, and it's then that a now sealed affidavit will likely be unsealed. Then we will likely learn more information about the investigation and what led up to Kohberger's
Yeah, they said
arrest.
3 o'clock.
For now, though,
Bunch
we
of
will
liars.
continue to follow this ever-developing case, bringing you the latest
They just
details
want us to
as
watch
they
their
unfold.
coverage.
Reporting in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Sierra Gillespie, Law and Crime Network.
All right, great reporting there
I
by
hate these
Sierra. I'm
people.
joined right now this hour by Law and Crime's and Jeanette Levy, who is outside the Latah County Courthouse. I'm also joined by retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer, who's been following this case from the beginning, and criminologist Dr. Debbie Goodman. It's great to have you all here. I'd like to get right into the viewer questions from social media, YouTube, because
I didn't
really
see you guys
have an
talking
interest in
about
this
it on
case.
Locals. I missed it.
And Jeanette, I'm going to start with you. This is from Sway from YouTube. I'm actually going to read you Sway's question and then hit you with a question of my own. So the first question from Sway is, when is the trial likely to take place? I'll tell you.
Nobody cares.
Not
So,
for quite
okay,
some time.
seriously, they're just going to talk a bunch of shit and answer questions from YouTube? Are you kidding me? Law and cuck, man. Law and cuck. I mean, really. Do they not know I have things to do? I have stuff to do. I have places to go, things to do. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know you woke up and you could have slept for 30 more minutes. Can you believe this? So what should I do? Kill the stream and come back in 30 minutes? Because we don't need to sit here and listen to them, kiss their own asses. Do we? Do we want to hear that? I don't. I think I'll kill this and come back at 3:30, okay? So set your alarms, go back to sleep. And when we come back, no, you want me to stay? What do you want me to do? Sit here and watch them just talk about nothing? Because that's what they're doing. And it turns out that there aren't any cameras in the courtroom. Now, why the hell is that? All right, maybe we'll just find out. Corn Pope says he's up now. All right, I'm checking the local stream. Checking the locals chat. If you're not following me there, you should be. meganfox.locals.com. It's where you find all the notifications that I'm going live, except for today, except for right now, because I didn't do that. In fact, I'm not even on Rumble right now because it takes too long. Flex says, I like sitting here and listening to you talk. Font kill it? I don't know what that means. Thank you for the super chat, though. I mean, for crying out loud. I don't like it when they trick us like this. This is yet reason number 3052 of why the media sucks. Because they baited and switched us. They said it was happening at 3 o'clock, and now it's 3:30. Well, at least there's footage of him getting walked into the courthouse in his bright red jumpsuit. Don't kill it. Okay, gotcha. Don't kill the stream. Fine. I guess I'll let you hold me here hostage. Is anyone going to make it worth my while? Flux sent a super chat already. Flux is serious. I wonder if the local news has better coverage in Pennsylvania with more info. Maybe since they're there, they might. You know what? That's a very good observation. I'm going to go check. I'm going to go look for Pennsylvania news live today. Nope, that's about the Speaker of the House nonsense that's going on. Lancaster News. Let's see what's going on there. Looks like they are talking about crime, but it's not that case. I'm looking. Victims of SA. No, this doesn't appear to be anything related. It's just like a true crime thing. All right, let's see. How about WGAL TV? That looks like it might be something. Let's go look. Excuse me. I think I choked on a noodle. I was just eating my lunch. Oh, yep, coughed up a noodle. Gross. Nope, that's not it. That's the weird essay thing that they're doing. I'm not seeing anything live in Pennsylvania. This woman looks like a monster, though. Let's hear what she has to say.
Crime. So because of his knowledge, even as
that's
a
quite a
PhD
mask
student,
it got on there.
These become very intense, immersive types of academic programs. So I believe knowing
that did not
his,
happen. Jeremy Renner
and his background,
are you
he
kidding?
has something in his back pocket that potentially he thinks.
Hold on, I gotta look that up. Are you messing with me?
Research, all of the planning and premeditation and decision making that had to go into this atrocity. I do not see him pleading guilty.
It's not trending,
yeah, I mean,
so that can't be real.
Why has come up so much, speculating about his background and what may have led him to do this, the connection between him and the victims. We have a question, Anjanette, from Be a Shiner, Not a Whiner from YouTube. I think that's a good lesson for a lot of people.
I don't see anything about Jeremy Renner.
Law enforcement
says he's conscious and speaking and will have surgery.
The 911
he's not dead.
From one of the surviving roommates.
Don't scare me like that.
The garbage truck right in the background as Anjanette is. I'm asking this question.
Right.
He's
so in
not
case you couldn't
dead.
hear me, the question is, when will law enforcement release the 911 call?
Well, we're not sure, but we do know for sure that it is trash day here in Moscow, Idaho. But we really don't know.
That was funny. We know that it's trash day here in Moscow. No, it's not true. Sadie, it's not true. I mean, I'm looking at the news. It says Jeremy Renner is awake and will have surgery. You're saying he had the surgery and didn't make it? Why is that nowhere on the critical but stable is the last thing I've heard. So he got injured in a snow plowing accident. Nobody knows what happened, but he has blunt chest trauma. And I see nothing here about him not recovering. He is in ICU recovering from 2 surgeries after being injured in the snow plowing incident. So I think you guys are falling for a hoax. I think he's fine. And the reason why we're here right now is because what's his name? Bryan Kohberger is supposed to be in court. And they said 3 o'clock, but they're a bunch of cucks, and they tricked us. They said 3 o'clock, but 3 o'clock was just a trick to make us listen to them kiss each other's asses for a half an hour because it's actually happening at 3:30. But since that's in 15 minutes, I'm just expected to fill some time here. According to people I know, or not people I know, according to Jeremy Renner's Instagram, people I know, I don't know what I'm talking about. According to his Instagram, he has one of those snowcat things. And I think that's what he was on when there was some sort of accident and he suffered blunt chest trauma, whatever that means. We are just waiting for the cucks at Law and Cuck to get their reporter in the courtroom to tell us what's going on. Because unfortunately, there will be no cameras because the media didn't do their job, apparently.
More of your questions. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back right after this.
So they have a reporter inside the courtroom. It doesn't look like Pennsylvania local news is covering this. I can't find any of that. I'm getting a call from a federal prison. I think I know who this is. I think it's a January 6th person. Hold on a second. All right. Hey, how are you? Hang on a second. Can I put you on speaker? I'm actually live right now. Yeah. All right. Hold on. Folks, I'm talking to Jacob Lang. He's been sitting in a prison for how long now, Jacob?
715 days without a trial. And maximum security federal penitentiary now they moved me to. My 11th different prison.
11th different prison. Unbelievable. When is your trial? Do you even have a trial date yet?
Yeah. It was supposed to be this January, actually in 6 days, but they pushed it out another 6 months until June. So it'll be 30 months as a pretrial detainee without being able to have a trial by the time my trial comes around in June. It's just unbelievable.
So it was supposed to be January, now been pushed out to June. Any reason for the delay?
Well, yeah, there's many reasons. The government's still trying to build their case against me. They're saying they keep on giving us hundreds of gigabytes of new discovery dumps from the Capitol Police body cameras, from different people's cell phones they're arresting on a daily basis, and also my 1512 charge, which is the really political blanket charge that they charged hundreds of Jan 6ers with, which is obstruction of official proceeding. My judge, actually, I'm only one of 3 Jan 6ers that had that dropped. And so the government appealed that. And so now we're going into the federal district appellate court, and that process can take a long time. So they pushed my trial back in anticipation for that hearing to come down. Either they're sustaining my judge's, Carl Nichols' opinion that the 1512 charge should be dropped, or they're going to overturn it, and then we're going to have to kick it up to the Supreme Court, and my trial, God forbid, could not be for a long time.
Oh my goodness. And it's already been a really long time. It's already been
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. You've been sitting in and you can't get bail. They've denied you bail.
They denied me bail. They're not even really claiming it on my dangerousness factor. They're claiming it on the ability that I have to influence others to do violence against the government. And it's just contrived nonsense. I can't believe the government's gotten away with holding me for so long I have no criminal history.
Oh my goodness. All right. So what is your lawyer saying? Right. Have you been able to speak to your lawyer recently?
Yeah, I've had so many battles with getting legal calls and legal library access and being able to prepare for my defense throughout these 11 different prisons. Each one you have different, all kinds of obstacles and barriers that you have to climb over to be able to set up legal calls or legal video visits or have your lawyer come visit you. I've had places reject my lawyer to come visit me 3 times in 1 week. He drove all the way down to Rappahannock Regional Jail to visit me, and they rejected him 3 times. I've had legal calls been spied on at multiple different facilities. So it's just been, a nightmare to try to get any kind of real defense built. These are not the conditions to build any kind of defense. It's purposely set up to be so difficult and so much eavesdropping and so many obstacles that basically you just give up and take a plea deal. That's what their whole entire system.
This call is from a federal prison.
Oh no, are they cutting me off?
No, that's just every 5 minutes that happens. We have 10 more minutes, that means.
Oh, good. Okay. Now my sister, she's in the chat. She's a lawyer. She says, I don't understand this. He's entitled to speedy trial. This is absurd. Now, I think I remember talking to your attorney, and he had to waive speedy trial for because at the time there were discovery problems. So
still happening.
Yeah, so speedy trial was waived, but I mean it's like they do this on purpose, where they make it difficult for you to get your speedy trial in the first place by not giving you the discovery that you asked for, and then you have to waive your speedy trial, and then they can just hold on to you for as long as they want to. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the problem is that I haven't personally been able to view my discovery, and so we get to a new jail, and he makes a new hard drive, literally terabyte of videos, thousands of hours. It would be impossible for any one person to go through to find all of the exculpatory evidence, which is evidence that would help redeem me and prove my case that I was defending myself against police brutality, and there's a lot of third party intervention that I was doing for other people being injured, that I was stepping up and defending, and all kinds of situations like that I need to comb through. Cell phone video cameras, mounted cameras on the outside of the Capitol, police body cameras, all kinds of different stuff. And so, they keep on withholding discovery information, giving us dumps that have, thousands upon thousands of hours of videos in there that have nothing to do with my case or where I was at in the Capitol. And it's just become such an obstacle. But, like I said, there's a certain grace that God gives to just make it through this and know that justice will be had. And I will walk out of that courtroom a free man come June 2023.
Now, I'm in New York, and in New York, we have these ridiculous laws where people are released, violent criminals are released, rapists, all kinds of criminals are released on no bail. Not even, they don't even put ankle bracelets on them to keep track of them here in New York. I can't for the life of me figure out why the government won't let you be on house arrest. It's been 2 years. You're not allowed to go over you can't get your discovery because they keep on not giving it to you. You keep transferring you. This is your 11th prison. Where are you right now? What prison are you in?
I'm in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, federal maximum security penitentiary.
You spent time at the Washington, D.C. jail, which is an absolute cesspool. The conditions there were terrible. Is there anybody else there from January 6th with you in Pennsylvania now?
Yeah, there was only 4 of us here for a while, and then they just moved to another about 10 of us here, and they're moving, I think, another 4 or 5 here this evening up from Virginia. So, they're moving people all around and keeping people kind of on the move. It's called diesel therapy. It's a form of torture that the federal U.S. Marshals do and the Department of Justice to kind of break people's willpower and resolve it. And so when they just keep on moving you, basically everybody, their convictions just break down. And you're like, oh, I'll do anything to get out of the situation, And that's why so many Gen 6ers have broken their convictions and taken these plea deals, because they've literally tortured them using these different, tactics. No sunlight for months, no hygiene, locked in the cell for weeks without showers, COVID restriction, 23-1 locked in a cell, solitary confinement, beatings and threats of beatings that many of us, including myself, have suffered under. And so if you add all these things up, it's a systematic abridgment of our constitutional rights that's designed to break us so that, we become kind of a symbol of what they're trying to basically tell other conservatives, other patriots, other Republicans out there who would stand up and fight against tyranny. Basically, if you ever try to do this, you're going to end up in these situations. We're going to torture you. We're going to drag your name through the mud. We're going to do all these different things. So they're basically using us to warn the other American patriots out there, hey, you want to stand up against the big brother? This is how we're going to treat you.
I actually just heard an interview with someone who was, the FBI left a business card on their doorstep to talk to them about January 6th, and listening to him tell the story of how terrified he was just to get that business card. He called a lawyer immediately and was like, what do we do? What do I do? I mean, just the very idea of the FBI coming to question you about January 6th
call is from a federal prison.
Sends people into a panic, because they know that they could be arrested for nothing and sent to jail for 718 days now, like you've been in prison without a trial. This should not be happening. I mean, I don't care. You know what, Jacob? I don't care if you're guilty or not. That has nothing to do with any of this, in my opinion. You have a right, you have the presumption of innocence, and you have the right to a fair trial. This has been a total shit show.
Yeah, it has. And that's why some of the stuff that, we've been able to do, my team and I and a bunch of other Jan Sixers, we produce videos and documentaries and hold rallies and stuff like that, trying to share our side of the story that the media and the government's been so keen to try to hide and pervert our side of the story and take the truth and just twist it around. That's why I made j6truth.org. We have a new documentary actually that's coming out tomorrow on Gateway Pundit, and that's going to be groundbreaking. The first one we did got over 1 million views on Rumble. It's the #1 most viewed video ever on Rumble, and that's called The Truth About January 6th. That shows the ridiculous acts of police brutality that many Jan Sixers suffered under, including the 4 that died that day, and it gives a whole new perspective from the protesters' vantage point of what really happened that day, and it shares our side of the story instead of what CNN and MSNBC just regurgitate for years on end with these January 6th select committee show trials with no January 6ers there to defend themselves, no defense. It's complete kangaroo court, something that you would see in like a communist regime, where we're being marched into these trials. Everyone's presumed guilty, and it's basically just a function of the government where, they're just like, okay, next Jan Sixer, yep, everyone, the whole jury, finds them guilty because the jury pool is so tainted out of D.C. And so, we fought back, and we're fighting back with the truth. And so I really encourage the audience to go check out j6truth.org, sign up for our email alerts, just get tuned in to everything we're doing because, this is a story of the American patriot who has been attacked by their own government and demonized, and now being dragged through the mud for years. And if you ever want to stand up against tyranny, this is the kind of thing that your own government will do to you. This is what we're suffering under right now.
There have been so many stories like yours, Jacob. We do wish you the best, and we hope that this is over for you soon. I can't believe they pushed your trial back again. I can't. I was hoping this was going to be over soon, and now, how can they push it from January all the way to? Did you say June or July?
June.
June. Yeah. That's such a long time.
Yep. I mean, but like I said, we have God on our side. We have truth on our side. So justice will be had. There will be vindication. I feel that this year is a big year for the patriots who've been locked up, the prisoners of war. 950 of us have been attacked by our own government and put on the stake like Salem witch trials, pretty much. But God will bring the truth to light, and I think we'll see our day of redemption. I really do.
All right, well, God bless you, Jacob. Please keep in touch. I got to run. I'm covering a breaking news story, and it's coming back on now. So I got to run, but thank you so much for calling.
God bless. Go to j6truth.org to watch those videos, everybody. Thank you so much, Maggie.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right. You guys are telling me that they came back, so that something's happening. Let's listen.
Jennifer, I want to pose a question to you about
and do check out j6truth.org.
One of the things that I found so interesting before the arrest of Kohberger was the statements from law enforcement, a day, 2 days before this happened, saying, look, we have no publicly identifiable suspect. We're still asking for information from the public. And I'll never forget what Chief Fry said in an interview. He said, look, we don't want to release the 911 phone call. We don't want to provide more information because we do not want to taint a future prosecution. We want to get the green light from the prosecutor's office. And that kind of rang in my head. That's a standard answer, but also he could have said, we don't want to say anything. We don't want to release anything to taint the investigation. It makes me wonder how early on they knew about Kohberger.
No, I agree. I think it was earlier in that week. There was a point that there was a complete change in demeanor, a confidence that exuded from the chief. There was that comment that
Stephanie,
she just talked
that's
about,
the question
where he
I've been asking from the beginning of this.
The prosecutor can handle that. That was a flag. I thought another flag was the.
All right, they're not talking
the,
about the
crime
hearing. Maybe they have not started yet. They're supposed to start the hearing at 3:30. A different stream? Well, Corn Pope, what different stream? We saw the footage of him being walked into the courtroom. That was from earlier. But Stephanie, for sure, they have messed around with him in Discovery for so long. They have not turned it over. They have not made it available for him to look at in jail, which is, it's not okay. What's cutting out? Me? I'm cutting out? Or the stream?
You've talked about his intelligence. Obviously, we don't know.
I mean, I keep muting them because they're not talking about
but
anything I care about.
You know, you follow this line of speculation right now, and people believe, well,
where
he's a
is Jacob
criminologist,
from?
he thought he could get
I have
away
spoken
with
to
it.
his dad. I'm actually, I don't
Again,
remember
this
where
is
he's
somebody
from.
in your experience,
But I have
high-profile
spoken to his
crime,
dad.
multiple
Nice guy.
murders, they might decide to represent themselves.
Right. Great question and a very intriguing conversation.
That
alone.
You know what that woman looks like?
So
She looks like
I
BTK dressed up
believe
as a
that
woman.
this
Have you ever seen the
suspect
pictures of
is
BTK
indeed
with the woman mask on?
grandiosity.
That's what she looks
thinks
like.
He's the smartest person in the room, narcissistic, and I will also say hedonistic. You know, when we
All
look
right,
at
somebody
these,
told me that
these
Channel
killers,
8 has something different,
Jesse,
so let me go
whether it's
look.
the mass murderer, mass
Because
shooter,
I was on Channel 8.
serial murderer,
I'm
school-based
checking.
related, workplace related. These individuals,
I'm not seeing
many of
anything
whom
interesting.
will derive pleasure, hence the hedonism.
I mean,
from
I'm on their
beginning,
channel.
middle, until the end of the
I swear to God,
atrocity.
though, I gotta
So I
find
have
this
no
picture
doubt that
of
he
BTK
would
dressed up
have,
as a woman. It looks just like this woman.
You know, pleasure in calculating this, in carrying it out, and now the entire world knows who he is. However, to the direct question,
Looks like
I
her.
do not believe he will represent himself. I think he
Ah,
will be
gross.
very forthcoming, very talkative, very involved in his own defense, but I don't see him at this moment in time representing himself.
All right, am I wrong? Doesn't she kind of look like this? Am I wrong?
You're on the air. Again,
I think
we're
I'm right.
waiting for more updates on this extradition hearing. Again, it's a hearing to determine, and
Maybe
we
I
believe
just
that
have
he has waived his
BTK on the brain.
extradition for him to physically be moved, transported from Pennsylvania to Idaho, where he awaits those charges. We'll be back right after this.
Oh, God. Oh, law and crime, man. They just tricked us. But yeah, how weird is BTK, man? He took all these pictures of himself dressed up with this woman mask on and then like tied up and stuff. And he would take these pictures of himself looking like the victims that he killed, you know, like in the same positions and stuff. Really bizarre. Really bizarre. That was the BTK killer. There's a million of those. There's like a bunch of them. He took photographs of himself dressed up in his victim's clothes, wearing a female mask in bondage and stuff. Really bad. Really bad. Gross and weird. No, so okay, listen, there's no cameras in the courtrooms in Pennsylvania today, but Lon Cuck has a reporter in the courtroom. So we're watching them so that we can hear what is happening inside the courtroom as they report it. Unfortunately, they catfished us and they told us that it was going to be at 3 p.m., but it wasn't. It's actually at 3:30, which should be starting right now. But they catfished us to come and watch a 30-minute stream of them talking about nothing. Hey, but at least we got a call from Jacob Lang from a federal prison in Pennsylvania. That was exciting. I do get weird phone calls from time to time, and that will happen. And so that was fun to be able to take that live. And we are thinking about Jacob and his family at this time. It's terrible that they have been without him for 2 years. 2 years, as if this guy is a threat to anybody. I mean, I guess you could make the argument. I think the government could have made the argument that those guys that they thought were a threat for like that weekend. And after that weekend, I don't think you can make that argument anymore. And yet they continue to do it. They continue to make the argument that the January 6th people are somehow dangerous to the rest of us out here when there's nothing going. It's been 2 years and he still can't go home on an anklet. It's ridiculous. All right. WFLA has a camera in the hallway since they can't be in the courtroom. All right, let me go look. Tarkina says he was from Pennsylvania, so it would be interesting to see if there were other stabbings between these two places. I can't imagine his first homicide was a 4-person murder. Well, BTK's first homicide was 4 people. It was a quadruple homicide, which is another weird coincidence between these two murderers, or this alleged murderer and the BTK. Yeah, maximum security. And, I've spoken with Jacob before. What he went through and what the other prisoners went through is absolutely insane. When he said 23 in, 1 out, he meant 23 hours solitary confinement with 1 hour out, and that included his time for showering. They would not let them take showers except for once every 2 weeks. It was very bad. We can't watch the hearing because there are no cameras in the courtroom. I was going to go over and check. What was I checking? K something? WFLA. Hold on. Let me go look at WFLA. Apparently WFLA is got a camera in the courtroom. Not in the courtroom, but in the hallway. Everybody keeps telling me. So this is Channel 8. Oh, there it is. Live coverage. Okay. All right. Let's watch that.
Happen, communicating back to us at various news stations.
Maybe this would be better because it's
the time
local.
now. I just want to make note of this: 3:32. So if this really if this is it,
what do you mean he found one? Found one where?
We do need to stop somewhere for dinner. Yeah, think about that.
All right, hold on.
Some of the side chatter from inside the courthouse as well.
Oh, we're hearing stuff in the courtroom. Hold on. What is playing? What is playing in my ears? Oh, it's Law and Crime. Hold on. I'm hearing Law and Crime in my ears. What is Andrew watching? He doesn't have it up on the screen right now, so I don't know what he's linked to, but we can hear chatter inside the courtroom here.
Yeah, I actually, when they opened the door, I kind of like this long disappear, left the
Maybe
door
not.
closed thing. So I'm gonna
Seems like that might have been a false alarm. I was going to say
that would have been awfully fast.
That would have been a record. I mean, court hearings are known to sometimes be extraordinarily short, but that might have been a record. So let's talk more about the Pennsylvania press conference, the PA State Police press conference.
All right. Well, okay. While we didn't see the Pennsylvania press conference. Let's hear this.
They announced it for. We have to be ready on the touch screen, folks, to hit a button to go full screen so that we can monitor Kohberger coming out of court. But Pennsylvania State Police, they released this. Colonel Robert Ivanchik, Commissioner of the Pennsylvania State Police, Major Christopher Paris, Area 3rd Commander of State Police, and Monroe County District Attorney David Christine Jr. will be holding a press conference today to discuss the apprehension of Bryan Christopher Kohberger. Kohberger was taken into custody early Friday by members of Troop N and the Special Emergency Response Team at a home in Chestnut Hill Township in Monroe County in connection to the homicides of 4 University of Idaho students on November 13th. The press conference will be available via live stream. A PA cast video will be available after the event. And then it, of course, goes into the what, when, where, and the media contact for the event.
I can't hear.
Oh, wait. Yeah, this is interesting.
That's all he's doing.
He's signing paperwork at the moment.
Okay, that can go numerous ways.
Okay.
You got better hearing than I do.
Do I, though?
Oh, I can't hear a thing.
I'm listening.
All right, you're saying KIFI has it? All right, hold on.
Some of the normally off-camera interactions that occur when we're talking about. What's that now?
Yeah.
All right, I got it.
He's in the hearing right now.
Oh, okay.
He's in the hearing right now is what they're saying. But here we have
They're selling packages.
Just the raw footage here.
48 wallets.
You know, that's one thing about courts. You know, like people's lives are on the line, and you go in there, and all the people who work in these courtrooms, they're all just like yucking it up. It's just another day on the job for them, and it can be really frustrating for people who are, you know, there and their lives are depending on this particular hearing that's going on or trial, and it really gets bothersome. I know that happened in Colorado when I was covering Cynthia Absug's case. You know, it was this super serious event of a woman who was on, you know, her life is on the line. Will she ever get to see her children again? And you've got her own defense attorney and the prosecutor, you know, patting each other on the back and making jokes and yucking it up with the judge. And I hate that so much. I wish they would. I wish people who work in courtrooms, I know it's your workplace, and so you've got that in courthouses, you've got that casual thing, but try to stay cognizant that there are people around you whose very lives are at stake, and it's just not okay to make them feel like this is all very casual to you, you know? It's just terrible. It sure made me feel sick to my stomach when I was watching it, when I was sitting in the courtroom in Colorado. It was just sitting there watching these people pretend and act like everything is fine and someone's life isn't just seriously ending in front of our eyes. And there's just a callousness there that just should not be happening. I think if you work in criminal court, especially, you should be cognizant and aware of how people are feeling, because there's a lot of family members, not to mention the accused themselves and maybe victims that don't appreciate your water cooler jokes. You know, like no one appreciates that in criminal court. Like keep that crap to yourselves in the lunchroom or whatever. But when you're in the courtroom, whether the court's going on or not, how about just be professional? How about just carry the weight of the event on your shoulders?
People saying at the time, oh.
Who is for Bryan Ensign? Yeah, okay, hold on. Let me go follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, it can be.
Brian Ensign.
I'll give you the courtesy when you're coming out. Oh, thank you.
There he is.
My name, you'll hear
all right,
I
want
clear.
notifications.
Thank you.
All right, so
I know they're not going to move from that spot.
Awesome. So, yeah,
okay, he said he's going inside the courtroom now. Cameras and live tweeting are not allowed, but we'll update when it ends.
Being willing to do this.
Yeah,
Always appreciated.
absolutely.
And then you've got to jet over to
Just have to walk quickly.
walk quickly.
You all right?
Where they go? Oh.
DA's office.
Yeah.
Okay,
This building's closing up at 5, right?
4:30 usually. But
Alright,
by the
so I
time we
got-
get everyone out.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible they're not letting anybody record this. I mean, we're all just sitting around waiting for this.
No, you probably want to.
It would be so much easier if they would just let the cameras in the courtroom, wouldn't it?
Did they schedule that over there for a time?
I think 4.
Yeah,
Well,
but by the
4:30,
time
I think
they,
it's 4:30 now.
Is it now
Yeah,
4:30?
I'm
That's
sure
good.
you'll
Mm.
by the time they get situated over,
Yeah.
everyone's hustling over there is in there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we should be good.
Oh my god. The you guys, the YouTube showing the still of my live feed right now. I have the funniest look on my face. I'm going like this. I look terrible. The hell is wrong with you, YouTube? Why would you stop on a still like that?
I'm pretty sure it was in shots.
WFLA. I'm going back over there. I want to hear Bryan Ensign some more. All right, let's hear if they're talking about anything. Here we go.
Kohberger's next appearance in the hallway says hashtags Vodovoz. The lawyer, Labar, says he got tickets, but he hadn't seen them, didn't know what they were. Indiana State Police say they have no record of stopping either Kohberger. This is based on reporting by Fox News that on the trip in mid-December, on the trip home, Kohberger and his father, according to Labar, the attorney, that they got pulled over twice in Indiana, and Indiana State Police saying that there was no record of them getting pulled over.
Cynthia's doing good. She got out. She's out of
That
jail
would mean,
now.
of course, that there weren't any tickets given.
She's trying to put her life back together.
Yeah, that was another nugget that came out from
Getting
Fox
ready
News.
for appeal.
As all these as interviews are done and questions are asked, this is how we get information between now and the arrest affidavit being released. Right. We've got the audio up on full blast. We also have
who knows why they're not letting the cameras in, just to be
Bryan
assholes.
Kohberger exiting court.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Yeah, they're right on time.
Oh Lord. This cop is now mugging for the cameras. And to the person who said, so what, they can't ever smile when they're at work? No, that's not true. But when victims are in the courtroom and the accused, you probably should keep your shit together. Probably shouldn't be cutting up when there's people whose lives are on the line sitting right there in front of you. It's rude. What's in front of the camera? What do you mean, what's in front of the camera? They're not allowed to be in the courtroom. We can only be in the hallway. And I guess here he comes. You know, a lot of this media attention is starting to make me feel a little sorry for this guy. I mean, they sure do make a big deal out of this, don't they? I mean, the guy's shackled, and I'm not suggesting he shouldn't be, since he may be guilty of what he's accused of, but it's really hard to get a fair trial when you're being shuffled in front of the media in shackles and escorted by 10 cops. Yeah, there will be no further details today. He'll just they'll say that he waived it or didn't waive it, which I assume he waived it. And then he will be sent to Idaho. I imagine that's what happened, and he's probably on his way back to Idaho right now. They're going to start transferring him, unless he did not waive his the extradition. Yeah, Pegasus, the thing is, okay, look, put yourself in his shoes. Let's say you're an innocent man and you've been accused of this thing. Yeah, is the SWAT gear a little too much with the guy already in shackles? Yeah, probably. I don't know why our camera froze. I don't know what's going on with the reporting. I guess they're just replaying it.
Breaking news on WFLA now.
All right, here we go. Now we're going to find out what happened.
Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger appears in Pennsylvania court, waiving his extradition, sending him back to the state where he is expected to answer to 4 first-degree murder charges in the deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. JB Buno, Josh Benson here with you live on WFLA Now across all platforms. So the extradition process is now in the rearview mirror, according to the court officer there, and we are now awaiting word as to when exactly the extradition is going to happen for the Washington State University student accused of 4 gruesome stabbing deaths at the University of Idaho on inside of a college residence back on November the 13th. Josh, so we have seen Kohberger arrive, depart. This was all done within really a 15-minute time.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of confusion as to what just happened. So let's just go through what this hearing was all about. So extradition is a procedure where one jurisdiction will pretty much acknowledge with another jurisdiction that there's probable cause to bring someone back and arraign them there for prosecution. So that's what we're seeing here. One of the agencies bringing into this court hearing,
all right,
Kohberger has
he's taking too long to get to the point. He did tweet out about this, though, so let's go over to his tweets and see what his tweets say. He did waive his extradition hearing. He had to sign a waiver in court. The judge explained to Kohberger that the charges against him in Idaho, that he was voluntarily allowing authorities to transfer him back to Idaho. Going inside the courtroom. Oh, that's it. Okay, wait. 1 of 3, he said. Where's the second one? Yeah, it was fast because all he had to do was walk in there and say, I waive. And then they just fill out paperwork. He signed some stuff. And FFS, you're hilarious. They still get to parade them down the square. They took away our vegetable throwing rights. Yes, we're all interested in knowing what the probable cause was. We're going to find that out when it gets back to Idaho, because apparently they're not allowed to release that information until he stands in front of an Idaho judge. And then we will get to see the arrest affidavit, and not until then. So no one's going to know. And anything you hear from the press about leaking or anything else, I wouldn't believe until the arrest affidavit is released. You know, the press is always going to want to be one up on the next guy. They want to be first for everything. Pegasus, let me explain. You said nobody's trying to be rude if they smile or talk. It's not just smiling, and it's not just talking. Like, I don't think I would mind if there were people in the courtroom, you know, having a conversation quietly. What I witnessed was a complete disregard of everyone else in the room while they discussed very loudly their latest ride on Peloton. I don't. The family of the victims and the family of the accused really do not want to sit there and listen to the prosecutor and the defense attorney shoot the shit about Peloton. Like, have that conversation someplace other than inside the courtroom, where people are waiting to hear what is going to happen to their lives. I'm sorry, but I find it incredibly off-putting. Incredibly off-putting and very lacking in empathy. Okay, so as I was saying, I think that we should put ourselves in Bryan Kohberger's shoes and ask ourselves, if we were innocent, how would we feel? Would we feel we were getting a fair trial if we were being paraded in front of the cameras as an already convicted man in the jumpsuit and the shackles and everything else? I mean, I don't know. As a journalist, I'm very conflicted about this because I think I want to see it. I certainly want to see it. I want to report on it. But is it fair, is the question. Is it fair to the accused that their name, their photo is splashed all over the place, and that this now, with especially a story like this with so much attention on it, you know, and following his every move, is it fair? Is the jury pool being poisoned right now? And I think that we just need to keep that in mind. We need to keep in mind that this is a man who has the presumption of innocence. I definitely want, well, that was Search for the Holy Grail, obviously, sweet Gator Babe. We have to know that this person has the presumption of innocence. We don't know what the evidence against him is, and until we do, I think that everybody should calm down. Everyone should calm down, like calm the hell down, or his defense attorney is going to have do you want him to get off on this? Like, to be able to appeal and say that he never had a fair trial? See, that's the thing. That's the risk that we run by having this media frenzy. There's a huge risk involved, that people will then say, or he will then be able to say, you know, I didn't get a fair trial. Like, the media had me convicted from the second I was arrested. Let's just hope that whatever the cops have is airtight, and that it's not going to be a situation where there will be appeals and nonsense. So I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen. So make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. I will be back tomorrow at 11. We'll go over all the details if there's anything new at that time, but I did just want to get on here and cover that to see what was going to happen. I figured nothing much was going to happen, and nothing much did happen. Let's see if Bryan Enton has gotten 2 and 3 of his tweets that he promised. We heard that he waived the extradition. No, he still hasn't done numbers 2 and 3. We're still on number 1. Me. And the first person commenting is saying, yeah, I'm refreshing 500 times for number 2 and 3. You know, we all are. So basically, there's some video footage of him. Here, I'll show you. Some video footage of him getting marched back out to the van, in case you wanted to see that. Here it is. Not real exciting, just a total media frenzy outside. So quick, we almost missed it. I hear people yelling, "Why did you do it?" You know, that's the sort of thing we should maybe refrain from asking, considering we don't know, and he has the presumption of innocence. I'm not saying I think he's innocent. I'm just saying we're supposed to presume that. And if it were your father or brother or loved one, you would certainly want that preserved in the public opinion. And so I just want to say that we do not have any evidence yet that he did this. When we do, Kayla, we don't know. That's what we suspect, but the police have not confirmed that. And so that's one of those things that we have to be careful about saying, because we don't know that yet. We think so, and that's what CNN reported, but they had an unnamed source. And again, take those with a grain of salt. And we just have to make sure that we're not spreading rumors, because we need to do that. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Believe me, I'm a First Amendment. I'm huge. That's what I do. I'm the First Amendment. I'm First Amendment defender for sure. Which is why I say, as a member of the media, it almost pains me to say this, but I do see that there's a danger in poisoning the jury pool. And I believe in justice, and I think justice should be done. And that means we need a fair trial. I'm just checking your comments to see if I've missed any questions that I can answer. Lars Larson. When my public defender failed to show up in court, the judge made small talk with me as if it was no big deal that I was neither getting representation nor a speedy trial. Yeah, that sucks. Jeez. Number 2 and 3, he still hasn't tweeted. I don't know what it is. It's not fair. I'm sorry, but there's nothing fair about this ridiculous media coverage that we have today. I'm not saying we should change it in any way. Just saying it's definitely not fair. He certainly doesn't have 24-hour media coverage saying they believe he's innocent, do they? It's 24/7 media coverage saying that this is the guy, we got him, blah, blah, blah. And here's all the reasons we think he's guilty. I'm not willing to go out on that limb until I see some evidence that he's guilty, and nobody should. We should be covering it, the facts and the facts only. Someone has been arrested. This is his name. These are the things we know about him. He studies in criminal justice. But making these, assumptions, it's not good. And I try at pjmedia.com, where I write, I try to keep my assumptions to a minimum. And you know what will fix this? Says Iron Dog, a good 1960s Jell-O mold. Can you believe I made one of those? And it turned out so good. Leroy says, yes, he seems guilty in the court of public opinion. Now, look, we still don't know what the evidence is. Maybe the evidence is so airtight that by next week, I'm going to be saying this guy did it and he should fry. I don't know. We'll see. Right now, I'm just saying, everybody just calm down. Just wait for the facts. Let's wait to see what the cops have. It's like Joe said earlier today on True Crime Tuesday, Joe Raffa, 18-year veteran on homicide of LA Sheriff's Department, and he was actually tracking down actual serial killers like the Freeway Killer. He said it's not unheard of that police sometimes fabricate evidence, that police screw up, that coroners make mistakes, that evidence is not always true and correct. And so that's one of those things we have to be careful of. We have to be careful of that. Look at what they did to Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty, but in the months that led up to the trial, I mean, the media had him completely convicted of that, and he had not done it. It turns out that crossing state lines is not a crime in the United States of America. It turns out that shooting a convicted pedophile who's trying to kill you is actually legally allowed. And so now, obviously, these two cases are much, much different. Clearly, there's no self-defense argument here. However, we just have to be the one in the room to say, well, I'm not sure yet. Then let's wait and see how the facts shake out. And we're gonna get very few facts before the trial. I just want to encourage all of you also, even after the arrest affidavit comes out, be very careful in doing any of this other speculation. All we will know is what is on the affidavit. We will not know the totality of the evidence until we see the trial. And God willing, please, baby Jesus, let there be cameras in the courtroom for this. I will cover this trial from start to finish. I will be in this chair for 8 hours a day if I need to for this trial, because this is quite the thing. And I'm desperate to see how this police thing went. Okay, you said the other tweets are up, so let me get over there. Let me do a little refresh on Bryan's tweet here. All right, number 2, he says Kohberger told the judge he is not on any medication that would impact him making the decision. The judge said he has to be sent to Idaho within 10 days. So the very latest we will hear the affidavit is 10 days from now. Tweet number 3 said Kohberger came into court and made eye contact with his family sitting in the front row. He nodded at them. His mom cried, and his sister comforted his mom. A deputy brought her tissues. Okay, that makes me sad. And that's the other thing, you guys. Remember his family. His family, whether or not he did anything, whether or not he did this, his family did nothing that we know of. And his mother and his father and his sisters are going to be in mourning for the rest of their lives over this. You know, we heard from the BTK killer's daughter today on the stream earlier, and you can tell that she's still wrecked over this. I mean, she was weeping, just remembering what it feels like to be in the position that Bryan Kohberger's family is in. And it's a really bad position to be in. So please pray for them. Pray for their strength during this time, because they did make a statement. They said that they have their prayers are with the families in Idaho, but also that they will be there to support and love their son and their brother. And that's what they should do. There's no right answer to this. This is terrible. It's just terrible. Fubar Temp says it could be self-defense. No, I don't think so. But you could make the argument, I guess. You could try it. I can't imagine what it would be, but you could try it, I guess. No, I don't think they're going to seal the arrest affidavit. I think they would have a very difficult time doing that. That is public record. What I think will happen, excuse me, I have a red pepper flake stuck in my throat, and it is seriously bothering me. Do I have a drink here? Hold on. Anyway, what Joe said earlier today is that the arrest affidavit is going to be really thin. Okay, it's going to be as little information as possible. And then after that, that's all we're going to get. That's all we're going to get. They're not going to give us anything else until the trial. And, you know, it could be a year from now, this trial, which is hard to even think that we would have to wait this long. Just for laughs, play the MSM prank again about the airplane captains. We so Wong. Something Wong. And we too low. Yeah, I mean, Ken, I agree with this. It says, I think the backlash will be so enormous toward the Moscow PD if they arrested the wrong person and they know it. They must be certain it was him. Well, they sure think it's him. And when they announced it, some of them were teary-eyed. I mean, they seemed very relieved. So I think they genuinely believe it's him, and I think they probably have good reason to believe that. But before we know, we don't know. Yeah, the collateral damage for the families, the fallout, very bad, very bad. Just going through your comments. Oh, I don't. FFS says, I hope he defends himself and goes to full trial. I don't. I couldn't sit through that again. Would it be fair to say grounds? Like, no, I can't go through that again. Absolutely not. I need him to have an attorney. And I think it's going to be an attorney, a private attorney who is going to, volunteer to do this on a pro bono basis so that he can get the camera time, just like Jose Baez did with the Casey Anthony trial. You know, that made his career. And I think this is another one of those. And win or lose, I mean, whether you lose this one or not, it doesn't matter. You can't buy that kind of press coverage with how many people are interested in this case. This is one you want to be in front of the camera on. And good defense attorneys are good whether or not their clients go to jail. I mean, it just depends on, because sometimes you have no choice but to go to jail, and your only option is for your defense attorney to work out a deal for you. We'll see. You're coming up with self-defense. He was minding his own business when the sleeping teens tried to mug him in their own house. That's interesting. An interesting theory you got going there. Oh, God. Holy fook. Bing, bang, boom. No, it was bang, ding, ow. Oh, gosh. Oh, is that a lawful law? But what to business? What to business? Wait, Steve, what don't you agree with me about? If the state seeks death, no defense attorney likes that kind of case. Well, a death penalty case? Yeah, that's true. That's probably true. But I mean, are you saying there isn't even one who wants to get in front of the cameras on this one? Because I bet there is. I bet there is. I bet there is. Did his parents live in a gated community? It was some sort of gated community, but it didn't look like a super expensive house to me. So I don't know. I can't answer the question of like, are they super wealthy or anything? They didn't appear to be to me. I think it's just more, it looked like a usual middle-class neighborhood. Although someone, I mean, at 28 and still being in school, it's like the guy's a professional student. I mean, 28 years old, and so he's already got his bachelor's, then his master's, now he's working on his PhD. I mean, not to say anything bad about professional students or anything, but that's a long time to be in school. And that's a lot of money. Yeah, that's true. So, but we don't know how he paid for it. He may have he may have a job. I mean, he was working as security at one point. Of course, we don't know how long that lasted or what, but you're right. The memes from the Darrell Brooks trial, yeah, that they're going to stay with us forever. I mean, this isn't even a meme. This is an actual photo that I use as a meme. That's how good it was. That's how good the trial was, that you could just use an actual screen grab from it as a meme. I mean, I use this all the time. It's hilarious. Yes, there is death penalty in Idaho. Yeah, unfortunately. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the death penalty. I think life in prison is enough. You didn't see his parents' house? All right, hold on. Let's see. I'll bring it up here. Is there a picture of the house? Yes, here it is. On Fox 13, they have a overhead view. And they might have a full view too. Let's see. Let's put this up on the screen. Let's embiggen it so you can see it and play.
Bryan Kohberger is the man who moved from Pennsylvania to study in.
Okay,
is in custody,
that's the
arrested
house.
in Pennsylvania this morning as we try and learn more about him. The 28-year-old is a murdered.
Let me go back. Wait.
The fourth. Now Bryan
There.
Kohberger is in.
So, I mean, it's a sort of larger house. I don't know. It to me, it didn't look like anything that
arrested
special.
in Pennsylvania this morning as we try and learn
Let's
more
see if
about
there's
him.
a
The 28-year-old
straight-on
attended
picture.
Northampton, Washington State, seeking a PhD. Some of those that knew him in school described him as professional, nice, mature. Bizarrely, his prior research includes this, a survey targeting responses from criminals asking how they committed their crimes.
And again, that's not a weird thing for a criminology student to be looking at. I mean, it's not a strange thing for someone like him to be studying. So, all right. So that was the house. No gate. I thought I saw in the reports that it was a gated community, but you're saying no, it wasn't gated. There were wealthy communities around the Poconos. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we don't know. I don't know. I don't think it really matters, one way or the other. All right. Hey, Eric, looks like a killer's house. Again, these are the types of things these are the things we should not be jumping to conclusions about. The house tells you nothing about that is not evidence of anything. It does not look like a killer's house. Yes, we played that on the live stream earlier today. We played the BTK killer's daughter talking about it. Yes, but he crossed state lines. Maybe that tells us something about allegedly. You guys are killing me. Oh my goodness. It's got creepy windows. Guilty. I'm so glad that you guys can see the nonsense. And that you can just keep it in mind. Every time you are tempted to think, oh yeah, this means that he totally did it. Just remember, creepy windows, guilty. A very suspect house. This is what it's like to watch the media, though. I mean, everything about this guy they want you to think is something really, really creepy. Like, oh, he talked to women one time. Like, well, or he got turned down by women one time. That doesn't make you a creepy weirdo. It doesn't make you a killer. It makes you exactly the same as every other man on the planet who's ever been rejected by a woman, who's ever had a woman be like, no, I don't want to go out with you. And that was weird. He also goes to bookstores to pick up chicks. All right, I'm never going to live that down, am I? Just never. Just never. Oh my. Well, Scooter McTutor says he didn't have a history of supporting Trump and he used a knife, so he will probably be let go. OJ was not found innocent. He was found not guilty. There's a difference. And that was the prosecution and the police's fault. They screwed up. They screwed up. No, we are never going to let you forget that. I know. Hey, at least he never tried to pick up anybody at an auto parts shop. I mean, that would be really bad. I think I can take the banner down now since we know. All right. All right. What else? You guys are just going to keep me here, aren't you? I'm trying to get through your comments, but you keep putting out more. The auto zone. Oh man. Speaking of misinformation, there were people on Twitter the second, like right after this came out with his mugshot, they were like, what is it with these white guys and these mass shootings? I told one of them, I'm like, this was a knife crime, right? Do you know that this was a knife crime? And he was like, no, I guess I didn't know that. Like, oh, come on now. Go to a bookstore to meet the gals, fellas. You definitely won't get pepper sprayed. I guess every other woman out there besides me is just a bitch. I don't know, but when people talk to me when I'm out places, I never pepper spray anyone. I would never do that. I'm just like, oh, you want to chat about whatever? Okay, I'll chat with you. Like, what's wrong with me? I guess I'm the one with the problem. It's time for knife control. Like they do in the UK. Don't they do that in England? Aren't you not allowed to have certain kitchen knives anymore? Or you have to register them or something? Flux says, can't wait for the love story someone will tell after meeting their spouse at an auto parts store. No joke. 3 people have already contacted me to tell me that they met their husband at an auto parts shop. No shit. And my own husband was like, oh yeah, I met girls at the auto parts store before. Like, what? I just made that up. I was being funny. But apparently even my own husband has met girls at the auto parts shop. Hopefully before he was my husband, let's just say. I have the Stephen, that's so unfair. I have the eyes of a pepper sprayer. I do not. I've never pepper sprayed anyone in my life. I swear. LJ says pictures of parents' couches have plastic covers. Well, that would explain it. I mean, obviously psychos. Only psychos put plastic on their couches. I mean, or grandmothers. Psychos or grandmas. Mountain Stream says, I'd love to be hit on in a bookshop. Well, wouldn't we all? I mean, just wouldn't we all? In China, knives are registered. Well, we're headed in that direction. What if I asked you to pepper spray me? Would it be okay? Oh, man. The blanket behind you is shady. You are guilty. The blanket fort is looking a little suspicious today. Plastic cover people are guilty of something. Certainly guilty of something. I don't know what. Or old school Italians. That's true. A lot of those old school Italians, plastic everything. How about the plastic lampshades? Here's what I don't understand about the covering of everything in plastic. If you put plastic on the lampshade and they're like, well, it's a dust cover, you know that the dust settles on the plastic too, right? So you have to dust that. So you could just dust the lampshade. I mean, it's not that much different. I'm a trade qualified mechanic. Non-car blokes never hit on me at work when I was in the trade. They felt beta. Oh, see, I know a lot of guys who would love girls who know how to work on cars, my husband included. He would have found that incredibly attractive. You've missed the blanket fort. Well, the blanket fort misses you. Steve Gosney, I'm on page 131 of your book now, Good Faith Detective Warrants. That book is a good book. Where is it? Here it is. If you guys have not read this book, it's called Ideas and Answers in Law by Stephen Gosney. If you're interested in injustice, oh, good God, the tales of injustice in this book. I have not finished it yet myself, but I've read a couple chapters and it's pretty good. I got to go through it because I definitely want to give Steve a review. He gave me such a great review for Believe Evidence, The Death of Due Process, from Salome to hashtag me too. Oh, now you've done it. I'm behind on the chat again. Well, shoot. I was going to go hang out at the bar tonight, but I'm going to go hang out at Advanced Auto Parts and see where things go and report back. Don't forget to report back. It was to preserve the material is what they were thinking. Okay, so to preserve the material, we're going to put this nasty plastic on top of it that is so uncomfortable. Yuck. I mean, just terribly uncomfortable. Just get leather. Like, why not just get leather? I don't understand. I have leather furniture because, yeah, I would prefer to just wipe it off. I don't like thinking about dust mites and everything. Plus, I have a lot of allergic people in this house. So you got to have, less dust gathering things. Just get leather. Yes, but you don't get the near plastic reflection in style if you don't use them. So all the knives in your knife block have to be registered? I think so. I think in England they have a knife registry now. I think you have to have like a license to have a butcher knife. It's very weird. Just don't carry. You're saying no, you don't have to register them. You just can't carry them in public. I thought you couldn't buy them without putting your name on a list. No. Are you sure? It puts the dust cover on its skin or it gets the hose again. Good luck calling out an Italian grandmother about her plastic-covered furniture and not get hit in the head with a wooden pasta spoon. That's funny. All right, I'm trying to catch up. Stop talking already so I can catch up. That red pepper flake is really starting to bother me. Light Giver, we don't know if they have his DNA or not. We don't know. That is what CNN reported with an unnamed source that, to my knowledge, has not been corroborated by the police. I am betting that yes, they do, and that they got it through one of those DNA databases where they found one of his relatives. Oh, in fact, I was contacted by somebody today who tells me he does research on those genealogy things, websites, and that he found the Kohbergers, and there are several relatives of Bryan's on there, and he thinks that's the one that they used. So I wouldn't be surprised. That's how they got BTK. That's how they got his DNA. Amazingly, the cops back in the 70s kept his semen for 30 years, not even knowing that DNA would be a thing one day. They preserved it for 30 years, and when they caught him, when they thought they had him, they found his daughter's, they got a warrant for his daughter's pap smear of all things, because they went to the university where she was and to see if they had any medical records where they might be able to get some DNA from her. And they did, and they matched it. They matched the DNA that they had saved for 30 years to his daughter, and that's how they got him. It was really quite amazing, especially that BTK never counted on them saving his DNA for 30 years. My Italian grandmother had plastic on her furniture, and we were always told not to sit on them. I don't understand people who treat furniture like this. Furniture is supposed to be sat on and enjoyed, and it's supposed to be comfy and used. I mean, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Let's see, what else? They haven't said what the service was. There's a lot of different ones, so we don't know if it was 23andMe or something else. And it may not have been, I don't think Kohberger was the one who did it. I think it was one of his relatives or a couple. Oh yeah, Stephen, we were contacted by somebody we didn't know was a relative either through the DNA thing. I have family from Jamaica, and we have a lot of, apparently my grandmother's brother was a real rake, if you know what I mean. Apparently there are a lot of Harrises in Jamaica, and he was a little loose with the ladies, I guess. Apparently, like, there are just a lot of his illegitimate children in Jamaica. What a jerk. But anyway, we were contacted by someone who was the great-granddaughter, I think, of it. So there's a whole other side to the family that we don't know, that found us through one of those things. But I'm not in there because I told everyone in my family, don't give your DNA to just some random place. I knew that this is how it would go. I knew that the police would just start using it as their own private data bank, which, I mean, I guess on some level you're like, well, I guess that's good. But again, the abuse that can be used, the abuse that can be done to you by the state. We just talked to Jacob Lang, sitting in jail for 718 days with no trial from January 6th, moved to 11 different prisons in that time, denied his discovery. So you want to hand that kind of government your DNA? Like, just hand it over? You just want them to have it? Like, no way, man. But it's too late for me because, you know, the dummies in my family decided they were going to put their DNA into a database. I don't know why they would have done that, but they did. They did. And I think it's a really bad idea. Yeah, and I'm sure they did get his DNA from a soda straw or something when they were following him. Yeah. And then they could absolutely verify it. We'll see. We don't know. We do not know. Yes, the Washington attacks. There were two of them. One was Sandra Ladd. She was stabbed in the summer of 2021 on the 13th of the month, whichever month it was. I think it was August. No, hers was June. At 3 a.m. in the morning. And the police there told me that it had nothing to do with this murder. However, let me play for you. You want to hear that conversation I had with the police? Because I think it's pretty interesting, because we find out something in this call that made me go, what? Let's hear it.
Hi, this is Captain Fichette. How can I help you?
Hi, how are you? My name's Megan Fox. I am looking for just a couple of questions about the murder of Sandra Ladd. I know that it's an open investigation, so I know you can't release hardly anything, but I just wanted to ask if you had a time of death on her that you've released.
We have a range of time of death. I don't recall that off the top of my head, but I could look that up and check with our detectives to make sure I can release that information.
Okay, the other question I had was the manner of, or the place of death, like was she sleeping or was she found in a different area of her house? Is that something that's been released?
I have to check to see if that's released. We have an answer to that. I have to double check with my detective and make sure I can release that, but I can get answers to these questions and give you a call back.
Okay. And the other question I had, and I don't know if you can answer this or not, but I'm just going to ask it anyway. You know that there's tons of rumors swirling about the Idaho murders and it possibly being connected to this case. Are you talking with investigators in Idaho about, did they reach out to you? Are they asking about this case?
Investigators have not reached out to us, and there is not any reason to believe that there's a connection.
Interesting.
Investigators have not reached out.
They say the same thing, and I'm just wondering why that conclusion comes up so quickly.
There is information that we can't release, essentially, that it would be harmful to the investigation of the case, but there's information we have that just precludes us from being able to answer that or to give you more details about that, but as I said, we don't.
Okay, so Moscow police did not reach out to the cops in Washington about Sandra Ladd, and yet they somehow know that it's not connected. I don't know how to explain that unless the cops in Washington know who did it, but they just haven't arrested anybody for some reason. Then in Portland, there was also a double stabbing, same day of the month. It was the 13th of August in 2021. And they were sleeping at 3 a.m. and a man in a mask came in and stabbed both the husband and the wife. The husband died. The wife survived 19 stabbing wounds. And the man was scared away by a third person in the house, and it was never solved. So those two stabbings that occurred about within 7-hour drive of Moscow, I think seem really weird, and I'm still not convinced that it's not connected. But the cops are, so I guess they know what they're doing. Yeah, Steve says could be DNA exclusion or racial ID from the eyewitnesses. Sure, maybe. Although I think the only ID we had was a guy in a mask. I don't think they knew what his racial makeup, or if they did, they kept that quiet. Maybe. But I think it's weird. Why on earth wouldn't the police reach out? So neither one of these cop shops have talked to one another, but they're sure it's not the same guy. I don't know. That just doesn't make sense to me. Like, how do you know then? Like, how would you know? You didn't compare notes. It's just weird. Yeah, maybe phone tower pings, I guess. But who knows? All right, I gotta go. I haven't put anything on for dinner, and I don't know what's going on. And I can't sit here and talk to you for the rest of the day, even though I would really like to, because you're very funny. You guys are cracking me up today. You've had lots of fun things to say, but you know, I'm going to be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'm Megan Fox with PJmedia.com, and I'm bringing you all the real news, not that fake stuff. So make sure you tune in to me tomorrow. We'll have more then. We'll have more laughs then. See you guys.